This Fleet Equipment Unscripted interview is presented by Hendrickson, a leading manufacturer of heavy-duty suspension systems and components to the global commercial transportation industry. Visit hendrickson-intl.com to learn more.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason Morgan, Content Director for Fleet Equipment. Welcome to Fleet Equipment Unscripted. Today we're talking with Dan Lyne, Director of Sales at Motorwheel. Dan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jason. I'm really happy to be here with you.
So we are going to be diving in and going over what's going on with Motorwheel, because a lot has happened here in the past few years. There was a Hendrickson acquisition that happened in 2020. Today we have tariffs. We're going to talk about that. But before we get to that, let's lay some groundwork here. Dan, if you could give us just kind of where's Motorwheel at today after the acquisition, and what do you see here going forward?
Okay. Well, Motorwheel is a brand that's been around since 1929. We supplied brake drums, starting with automotive. We got into the military business many, many years ago. Now we're exclusively on Class 8 trucks and trailers, commercial vehicles. Back in 2020, like you mentioned, Hendrickson acquired our business. And so we are now a part of the Hendrickson family. And we like to tell people we're a part of that same family of brands that provides that trusted reliability and innovation that people have come to know with Hendrickson. So our flagship product is the centrifuge brake drum, and that's exclusively manufactured by Motorwheel, and all of our drums are manufactured here in the United States with U.S. steel. So we like to think that the Motorwheel brand is one of the most trusted names in heavy-duty brake technology. And we encourage customers that are speccing Hendrickson suspensions to consider Motorwheel as a part of that brake drum spec. So they're going all the way out to the wheel end. Consider putting on Motorwheel as your preferred brake drum. They're backed by the Hendrickson network of OEM support, and we have distributor availability just like Hendrickson suspensions have.
Right, very good. Yeah, because acquiring Motorwheel, bringing it into that family, as you mentioned, kind of brings along all that power as a global supplier there at Hendrickson. You touched on this a little bit, the centrifuge drums. Can you give me a little insight into what is a centrifuge drum that you guys manufacture, and what are those benefits?
Well, the centrifuge drum is a steel jacket drum. So the manufacturing of that drum includes a steel hoop or a ring, and the braking surface is still cast iron, but the outer port of the drum, the shell, is the steel jacket. And so what the benefit of that is, the biggest benefit, Jason, is that you have tremendous weight savings. And, the weight savings can be 15, 20 plus pounds compared to a similar cast iron drum. And the benefit of that is going to be improved fuel efficiency, but and then the benefit of that could potentially be some higher available payload. So that's the biggest thing. But the steel jacket itself, besides the weight save, Jason, offers superior heat absorption. So when you are running our brake drum, it's going to be cooler than a cast iron drum, which ultimately can result in less brake fade and longer life to both the drum and or the lining. So you could potentially have lower maintenance costs and reduce service intervals with centrifuge drum. We also, the way we manufacture, we precision balance our drums. So that ensures a smooth ride. And we also, like I said, we're made in America. We got American steel, and that's a big thing right now. is that our drums are right here with American workers, and that's really what Hendrickson, a lot of our products are about.
Yeah, and I want to come back to that in a minute. I do want to touch on though, because you mentioned some of those benefits, especially, and going back to it, right, the reduced fade, definitely even potential safety improvement there as if you're in mountainous applications, and I mean that's a real thing that drivers and fleets deal with. So definitely a benefit there. But oftentimes, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like oftentimes when fleets are talking about brake drums, it can kind of be viewed as a commodity in a lot of ways. Give me a pallet of drums, right? I mean, that's what they're looking at for their maintenance intervals. How do you go about talking with fleets and making sure they understand the ROI of different technologies and the value that drums can bring?
We take a multi-pronged approach on that, Jason, because we do run up against a lot of people that will say, the drum's too expensive.
Right.
Why am I going to pay an extra $30, $40+ for this drum when this other drum I have is working fine for me? And it's not that drum that they currently are using isn't working. It's just that our drum can work better depending on their application. So if we're talking to a customer that values weight savings, they can put that extra payload onto their vehicle, whether they're hauling fuel or some kind of a bulk commodity. They can recognize 80 to 100 pounds that comes off of the cast iron drums with the centrifuge drum savings. They can now put that right back into their vehicle, and so that increased payload is money right back for them there. The other thing is just with the less weight, they can potentially take advantage of better fuel economy. Their vehicle and the trailer that they're pulling is now lighter. So those two things right there are immediate, where you can show dollars. And we've actually developed an ROI calculator that can show the value of this weight save and the fuel economy. And so those are simple things where you actually can throw a dollar value right at it using that ROI calculator, which is right off of our website. The other thing is that we've collected data over quite a few years with the help of Hendrickson to try to compare vehicles that are spec'd with a cast iron drum versus or maybe cast with disc, and we compare that to centrifuge running across the board. And the calculator can actually take inputs that the fleet would put in. So it's not just our numbers, but it's the fleet numbers of their maintenance costs, their duty cycles, how much fuel is costing them, because it can differ. Fuel out here in the Northwest is a lot, and the West Coast is a lot more expensive than fuel in the Midwest, for example. So they plug in their own numbers, and it spits out a potential savings that they might achieve. So it's a really very useful tool that we launched this year. So it's pretty new, and we are encouraging fleets to use it and really see that value, and then they can test it out themselves and recognize the savings that the centrifuge drum can potentially bring them.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of the savings, I mean, you threw out some numbers there in terms of even just the cost. But as everyone's talking these days, it's all about tariffs, right? And you've mentioned the U.S. steel here previously, which is interesting because, I mean, there's a lot of, even for our market, I think we saw Class 8 truck orders and trailer orders really go down here over the summer months. I think the market's starting to see the impact of tariffs on costs and truck operation costs. But from your point of view then as a supplier, USA made, how are you preparing to support customers and those supply lines and just kind of the future as we go into 26?
Well, I can tell you that Hendrickson as a company and Motor Wheel, we are committed to manufacturing domestically. We've seen that some of our competitors have moved offshore to supply maybe at a lower price point, but the tariffs have negatively impacted them. So we are committed to staying domestic. We've invested with more capacity to improve our availability. And we are preparing for a market that when it recovers, we are available. We are available domestically. All of our major OEM customers, in particular the truck, but also the major trailer OEs, they prefer a brand that's coming from the USA. This USMCA regulations, they love it. I can't tell you how many times, Jason, where I'll get that request from purchasing, fill out this USMCA form. Is everything coming from the US? Yes. Oh, I love you guys. Thank you. You've made my job easier. So I've got a number of those emails where, if you were in the same room as me now, Dan, I'd hug you.
Always good to hear. Yeah, and I mean, a big impact there because a lot of the trade rules do require a certain amount of, they call it content, right? The brake drum would be the content on the vehicle that you have to have a certain percentage made domestically. And so, yeah, huge help there from the supplier point of view.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and we're committed to that. We just purchased a foundry, another one, and we don't have the tooling for our drums in there yet, but we will, and we will bring that online, later this year. So, like I said, we are prepared for the market to improve, and it will. And we are aligning ourselves with customers that want to take advantage of where we manufacture short lead times. We just got a call from a customer on Friday saying, uh-oh, I forgot to order these brake drums for you. My trailers are going down the line in a week and a half. I need 300 drums. We're going to react to that. We're going to help them. And that would not be the case if they were dealing with an overseas supplier. It would cost them a small fortune to fly those drums in. So we're pretty nimble, and we're able to do that for our customers.
Very cool. Well, Dan, I appreciate you taking the time to talk through all the great things going on at Motor Wheel and the advancement of drum technology. I'm sure I'll talk to you again very soon as you have lots rolling down the line.
We do. Thanks again, Jason. Really appreciate you guys.